Huntertown Wildcats, these are your morning announcements for Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. Let's go! Good morning and welcome. Welcome to our very first Synchronous Learning Day of the school year. Synchronous Learning Day, Mr. Stancifer. What is a Synchronous Learning Day? Well, we're going to talk about that and much more in our morning announcements. So let's get into it. Synchronous Learning Day, it's like a typical school day. The only difference is you're at home rather than here at school. So you're going to be at home on your Chromebook. You're going to log into Canvas. And everything that you need for your day is going to be there on Canvas. So you may be in your cozy jammies, but we're still doing school. Your teacher is going to be on the screen. They're going to be live. You're going to be able to interact. It's going to be awesome. But let's talk about a few ground rules to make sure that this Synchronous Learning Day is a great one. First, your live instruction will start at 9:30 and it will go to noon. 12 o'clock, 9:30 to 12, that's when you have your typical classroom instruction. So that's going to be happening with your classroom teacher from 9:30 until 12. And then from 12 until 2:30, that's when some of the other things happen. So if you've got a special, no matter when your special is throughout the day, it's going to happen after 12 o'clock. If you normally have a special in the morning, well, it's not in the morning today on a Synchronous Learning Day. It's going to be pushed to the afternoon. So anything after 12 will be specials, art, music, PE. If you get some help from the resource room, that will also happen after 12. If you get help from ELL, that will also happen. If you go to Peak, that will also happen after noon. So all of the other stuff, the non-classroom instruction kind of things, that'll happen between that 12 o'clock to 2:30 time. Now, what if you get everything done by 12:30? You met with your ELL teacher if you've got ELL, or you met with your Peak teacher if you've got Peak, and it's 12:30 and I'm done. Well, guess what? Peace on out of here. You're done. You're good to go, buddy. So do your work, stay focused, get it done, and then you're off with your day. Beautiful thing, right? Beautiful thing, beautiful thing. All right, so here are some things to keep in mind as we move forward on the Synchronous Learning Day. Number one, stay focused. It's going to be hard because it's our first Synchronous Learning Day, and you're going to be able to see on your screen your teacher. You may even have an opportunity to see some other kids in your class. So you have to stay focused in order for this thing to work. So that's the responsibility that's on you, and we trust you to stay focused and to do the right thing. That means not being distracting to others. That means muting your microphone when you should be muted. That means not making goofy faces on the screen. These are all the expectations that we have of you for Synchronous Learning Day. So stay focused. Don't be distracting to others. Follow directions. Your teacher's going to tell you exactly what to do. Your teacher's going to say, click on the green fish or click on the blue star on Canvas. And you have to be listening and paying attention so you know where to go, what to click, so that you can stay on the same page as everybody else, okay? So stay focused. Don't be distracting to others. Follow directions. And number four, if you have a question, ask. Now, you're going to ask in the appropriate way and in the appropriate time, but it's okay to ask questions if you've got questions. It's not okay while your teacher is teaching to unmute and say, "Hey, teacher, teacher." That would be distracting. That's against rule number 2, isn't it? So if you have a question, make sure you ask in the appropriate way. You probably want to raise your hand. You might, if you're one of the older kids, you might type the question into the chat. if that's available. So make sure that you talk with your teacher about what's the appropriate way to ask a question if I've got a question, okay? On to some other morning announcements. It is Tuesday and we typically have Huntertown hoops. Whoosh. We typically have Huntertown hoops on a Tuesday. So since we don't have school, we also won't have Huntertown hoops. Now I know it's a bummer, I know, I get it. But typically our folks in Huntertown hoops, our folks at the PTO, they will move that date toward March, okay? So you probably won't lose that date, it'll just be rescheduled. So we'll get through, it'll be okay. So no Huntertown hoops today. Another announcement, yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So you watched a video last week about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day and the things he stood for, the things he represents, which really is a lot like what we hold dear to our hearts here at Huntertown. Dr. King was all about doing the right thing and all about treating people right. So let's walk in his honor, in his legacy, and let's do the right thing and treat people right, no matter who they are, no matter what day it is, all right? So there's some announcements for today, and now we're gonna transition to something a little bit different. On a synchronous learning day, sometimes we like to have fun. Sometimes we like to do something that is kind of like a game. It's a game where I go somewhere in the school. I'll take you with me, and I'll give you some clues on where I'm at, and you have to guess by the third clue where I am. It's a game that we love. It's a game that we call
Where in the School is Mr. Stancifer?
Welcome to our next installment of Where in the School is Mr. Stancifer. It's a game where I hide somewhere in the school. You try to figure out where I am. So here's your first clue. It's a room within a room. Where am I? All right, clue number 2. Surprise, surprise, you can find supplies. Where am I? Okay, here is your third and final clue. Once a week, you come to the place that's on the other side of that wall. You're right over there, once a week. Where am I? All right, if you guess the art room, you're kinda correct. If you guess that little supply closet inside the art room, you're right! So you walk down the kindergarten hallway, you walk down the related arts hallway, you open the art room door, and there you are. Now check this thing out behind me. It's called a kiln. So whenever you make something out of clay, you're working with that, it's almost wet, right? It's squishy, wet clay, and it kind of looks like this when you're squishing it around, you're making a pinch pot or whatever you're making, and then by the time you're done, look at that. It's hard, and you can paint it. It looks awesome. Well, that squishy clay has to get hard, and that's what the kiln does. So check this out. So the kiln is this big machine. It's got all these levers and dials and all kinds of stuff going on here. And you put your clay inside. See that? And then it almost acts like a giant oven. You close that lid and you set the timer and it bakes the clay so it gets hard. And then once you bake your clay, you paint it and it gets hard and it looks lovely, just like this specimen right here. So Mrs. A, like I said, she doesn't have a ton of room to work with, but she's got her kiln back here. She keeps everything nice and organized. And I wonder, did you know that this space exists? Mrs. A, thanks for all your hard work. Now it's time to hear about our birthdays. Snow day, yahoo! Here's your birthdays for today. Happy birthday to 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Alter. Also, half birthdays to 4th grader Elijah Ooh and kindergartner Evelyn Lowe. Hope you guys have a great birthday. Happy Synchronous Learning Day. All right, those are your announcements for this first Synchronous Learning Day of the school year. Now remember, we have a few ground rules. Let's review those. Number 1, stay focused. Your teacher's gonna ask you to click on this, go over here. You have to make sure that you stay focused so you know what's going on. Number two, we're not gonna be distracting to other people, all right? We're gonna do our work and we're gonna allow other people to do their work. That's doing the right thing. We will follow directions. Teachers are gonna be giving you some directions on what to complete, when to complete it, how to submit it. So make sure that you are following directions. That's what it means to be a Wildcat. And number four, if you have a question, ask your question. Just make sure that you ask it in the right way. We always talk about 2 life goals in this school. And they're the same life goals from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade. Even when you're a grown-up and you bring your own kids here to Huntertown, they're gonna be the same 2 life goals. Number 1, do the right thing. And doing the right thing on a synchronous learning day means staying focused, not being distracting to others. Our second life goal is treat people right. Treating people right on a synchronous learning day means keeping the noise down so that your brother in the other room or your sister in the other room can focus on their synchronous learning day, right? Keeping the noise down for mom and dad too. They would appreciate that. I know they would. As a dad myself, make sure you keep the noise down. All right, that's all the announcements for the day. Have a great rest of your day. I hope to see you tomorrow. And I will leave you with the Pledge of Allegiance. Have a fabulous day, Wildcats.
I pledge